Welcome once again to Saturday Morning Glory, where I take a look at some of the daffiest Saturday morning cartoons ever made. You know, the DC Universe has given us some really great shows over the years. The majority come from Bruce Timm's DCAU, but even outside that label there's the likes of The Brave and the Bold, Teen Titans, and especially Young Justice, helmed by the great Greg Weisman. You might have noticed that all these shows fall within a fairly recent time frame. That's because if you go back much further, things start getting weird. The DC cartoons made back then were strongly faithful to the era known to comic nerds everywhere as the Silver Age. A time when, to put it bluntly, the entire comics industry simply did not give a shit. At the time, comic books were seen as disposable kiddie fare and not worthy of any effort. This gave us such gems as Batman becoming Bat-Baby and Lois Lane hanging out with Pat Boone. Man, anyone willing to read stories like these must be out of their minds. One of the most infamous products of the era was the Super Friends, and it's easy to see why. Just look at that title. It sounds like something on the same level as the Get Along Gang or My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, not a show about iconic heroes and villains battling it out each week. There were about 15 different shows over the years called Super Friends, but today I'll be focusing on one called World's Greatest Super Friends. Yes, these are the world's greatest Super Friends, not to be confused with World's Generally Competent Super Friends or World's Super Friends who kind of half-ass it. By this point they had gotten rid of Marvin and Wendy and their Scooby-Doo wannabe dog. Unfortunately, they replaced them with the Wonder Twins Zan and Jaina, who are only slightly less annoying. They also had a pet blue monkey named Gleek. I don't know his backstory, and any attempts to educate me will be ignored. I'll just assume he's really into Glee. The show is notable for the producers having learned their lesson from the overstuffed challenge of the Super Friends and paring the cast down to just the big names, thus disappointing all three fans of the Apache Chief. Unfortunately, these changes didn't help much, and World's Greatest Super Friends became even more unwatchably bizarre. One of the best examples is the episode I'll be looking at today, The Lord of Middle-earth. Wait, Middle-earth? Is that... it can't be. It must be some other Middle-earth. We start off with the Wonder Twins going camping. And don't ask me who goes camping in their superhero costumes. You know, while they were streamlining the cast, what exactly made them think these two were worth keeping around? Oh, right, not giving a shit. Moving on. They all go to sleep, and soon Gleek is visited by... the man from another place? Also, what was up with that eager smile? I guess Gleek was secretly waiting for some other guy to come to him in the night. All the Super Friends shows were infamous for their shoddy animation. Don't believe me? Well, just check this out.
Gleek, I told you to be careful if you slept over the tent.
Now that is one hell of a delayed reaction. I'm guessing that guy already had his way with Jaina and she just now noticed. And with that, the Wonder Twins suddenly realize they're in the middle of a dwarf stampede. I guess the twins' superpowers don't include peripheral vision. Since they're both dumb as rocks, they go against the flow of the screaming horde and enter a cave. They head inside, and as luck would have it, the Wonder Twins soon find themselves in hell. And Gleek immediately leaves them to die. So, rather unexpectedly, he's just become my favorite character. But enough of that, it's time to catch up with the real heroes.
There. The process has started, Superman. This plutonium bombardment I've developed should make my cape impenetrable to any radiation or energy force.
Wait a minute, that's your Batman voice? Come on, put some gravel into it.
This plutonium bombardment I've developed should make my cape impenetrable to any radiation or energy force.
See? It's not that hard. Well, now that Batman, Grim Avenger of the Night, is all sparkly and stuff, Gleek shows up and tries to convey what just happened.
Here, Gleek, you're supposed to be with Zan and Jaina.
Holy Panamites, I think Gleek's gone bananas.
Yeah, Robin's characterization on this show is pretty much that he's a moron. And he's not the only one.
Gleek seems to be indicating that this is the place.
Yeah, I know the show was written for 5-year-olds, but I'm pretty sure they don't need this much help to keep up with your oh-so-complicated story. Finally, they get to the end of the tunnel, and are you ready for this? I swear you're not.
Great Scott! It's the Kingdom of Middle-earth!
Nope, that's not a joke. We are now being asked to believe that the Super Friends have stumbled into the world of Middle-earth created by J.R.R. Tolkien. There are a lot of reasons why this is stupid, but for now I'll just point out that Middle-earth is apparently inside a cave. There's no dimensional portal or anything. Plus, Kingdom of Middle-earth, they did no research at all, did they? Our heroes accept the situation pretty easily, all things considered, and soon Superman is looking to free the workers while making a stab at a James Bond one-liner.
I hope you like mushrooms.
Okay, I'd leave the quips to the pros if I were you, Clark. And that's not all that's down here.
Zan! Jaina! Oh, no!
Well, as far as I could ever tell, they were just on the team as human shields anyway. So, purpose served, and we can all go home now, right? Right?
Don't worry, we'll have you free in a minute.
I'm afraid it won't be that easy. You'll have to deal with me first.
Mal Havoc!
Mal Havoc, huh? Does not ring a bell. Well, there's only one way to figure this out. To the appendices!
In the middle of the earth, in the land of Shire, lives a brave little hobbit whom we all admire with his long...
Nothing. Well, I for one am shocked. Shocked that the writer just pulled a name out of his ass.
Speaking of deals, this hand's mine.
Batman, you want to show him how to do this, please?
We both looked into the abyss. But when it looked back at us, you blinked.
Thank you.
We'll see how tough you are with my magic lasso tied around you.
Yeah, that lasso is your answer to everything, isn't it, Diana? I guess that's what happens when you're created purely for kinky S&M covers.
Dirty babe, you see these shackles, baby, I'm your slave. I'll let you whip me if I misbehave.
You're welcome. Random stuff goes on for a while because even with only 20 minutes to fill, this story is padded all to hell. Finally, Mal Havoc puts a stop to things and turns them all into hobbits, trolls. And Gleek seems oddly happy about this. Way to go, animators! Now, maybe I just haven't been reading the right stuff, but I have never heard of a single fantasy story where the word troll means this. And if you're talking about Middle-earth in particular, this is a troll. See the difference? And you know what the worst part is? You just know that somewhere, somehow, someone is getting off on this. Rule 34, look it up.
And with our powers gone, there's little chance of escaping.
Yeah, that's the spirit. I'm sure that's the pick-me-up they all needed. Batman suddenly remembers he has a utility belt, and another worker shows them how diamonds can cut through their chains. Oh, and their new friend's name is Baldascan. 1 second. Unbelievable. Nothing. What the hell is the point of setting this story in Middle-earth if they're not going to use anything from it? For some reason, only Batman and Wonder Woman cut themselves free, and I thought Superman was supposed to be the dick. They try to move a rock that's blocking the exit, but it's a painted background, so obviously that's not happening. And when Mal Havoc finds them...
Wait, my fusion cape!
Who could have possibly seen this coming? It was all set up so subtly, and luckily for the dumb kids watching this, that blast of energy traveled slow enough for Batman to actually explain in detail how he would deflect it. So everyone escapes, but Mal Havoc is nice enough to exposit that they've only entered...
The Cave of the Three Deadly Tasks.
The Cave of Three Deadly Tasks? Color me not too intimidated. What's next, the hallway of 5 mildly inconvenient chores?
This tunnel leads to the magic ring of Gandor. With it, we can rid Middle-earth of the evil Mal Havoc.
Oh, so close to being an actual Tolkien reference. Well, we've got 3 tasks to get through, so let's get this over with. Here's the first one.
Great parrot, the tunnel's alive!
And your reaction time was just as bad as Jaina's. I bet Aquaman never had this problem. Okay, they're just trying to play to the weird fetish crowd now, aren't they? Naturally, Wonder Woman gets them out of this predicament with her lasso, the solution to all of life's problems. Yes, pulling out one tooth makes them all fall out. Of course. And now the writers decide it's time to remind the kids about what they just saw 5 seconds ago.
I'm sure glad we made it past the first of the 3 deadly tasks.
I barely escaped with my life.
Oh, and this is Middle-earth. Have we mentioned that? Malhavoc gets a little pissed about the escape and puts the Wonder Twins in something called a diamond cage.
You won't suffer.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Much.
Ah, I see what you did there. And by the way, we'll never find out exactly what's so terrible about being locked in a diamond cage. Hard to believe, I know. Back with the heroes who are actually doing something, they get attacked by, get this, the spider people, which I guess are supposed to be like the giant spiders in Lord of the Rings. Somehow, I doubt Alan Lee and John Howe got much inspiration from these guys. But anyone who knows Batman knows he's always prepared for anything, and sure enough...
My bat laser may be able to cut us free.
Well, now they're all screwed.
Listen. It's the giant snails.
Okay, I don't even need to check this time. There are no giant snails in Middle-earth. This is not Middle-earth, and I don't even think these writers have ever read Lord of the Rings. I'm just calling it Random Fantasy World from now on. So yeah, giant snails. And how do the snails beat the spiders? By throwing them around with their eye stalks. I wouldn't have called that one.
They've been friends of the Troll Kingdom for centuries.
Which is why we're just now finding out about them. Seriously, they went to the trouble to set up Batman's sparkly cape but not the giant snails?
The strange ones escape again. Gorka must tell Malhavoc.
Yeah, Gorka, you get on that, as soon as I figure out who you are and what you're doing here. So, this guy who came out of nowhere shows up just in time to stop Malhavoc from killing the Super Friends. I think we're now up to 3 Deus Ex Machinas in a row. What's next, a giant Terry Gilliam foot crushing the bad guy? So there's just one more task to go, and wait, is Gleek copping a feel? Mark your calendars, I'm pretty sure this is the only time you'll ever see Gleek touching a woman.
Great flaming troll hammers! It's the magic ring of Gandor!
We seem to be in luck. There's no 3rd deadly task.
Shemucks.
I'll get the ring.
Ooh, climbing the ladder. No one's thought of that before.
To the surprise of no one who's ever read a fantasy story, the stairs turn out to be a dragon. And check out his deep, manly roar.
You're a girl dragon.
Then Malhavoc shows up, so Batman tosses out a lame taunt to get him to break the dragon's chain. Somehow I doubt this is going down as one of the great Batman gambits. Then Malhavoc immobilizes Baldascan, but Batman just picks him up. That was screen time well spent.
There, you must put the ring on the statue's finger before Malhavoc returns.
That shouldn't be any problem.
Okay, you do realize that anything that goes wrong from here is your fault, right?
With my short troll legs, it's difficult to climb.
Now she knows what it's like to be Snooky.
You and your friends have made a valiant effort, Baldascan, but I'm afraid you finally lost.
Well, maybe if you weren't just standing there the whole time he was talking, that wouldn't have happened. And it gets better. She clearly lets go of the ring for no reason. The story was almost over. You're just trying to get another sexy cover out of this, aren't you? What the hell was that about? Were the animators just really bored that day? Granted, their lives must have resembled a level of hell Dante never even dreamed of, but I think tying a monkey's tail in a knot is a sign that you're about ready for retirement.
Now I shall summon my greatest power and destroy the entire Troll Kingdom.
Oh god, he's going to make them watch after last season. But Gleek picks up the ring, puts it on the statue's finger, and it comes to life and kills Malhavoc. Not too violently, though. We can't be creating any serial killers here. And all the Super Friends turn back to normal by reversing the polarity of the neutron flow or some other crap not worth paying attention to.
Supers, what happened?
That's what I'd like to know, too. I'm guessing whatever happened to you down in that hole was way more interesting.
Gleek's your real hero.
So you're leaving him here to lead the troll people as their new lord and master, right? Nope. Well, I can dream. Oh, they didn't. Please tell me they didn't.
You must have been having some dream.
Yes, it was all a dream. The one thing that could have made this episode even worse, and there it is. All I can say is I feel dirty knowing we were running around in Gleek's subconscious the whole time. Actually, now that I think about it, there were some hints about this.
It's the giant snails.
There's a little stinger at the end that hints that it was all real, but my brain has already melted, so I'll just let it go. I really don't know what to say about this one. There's nothing here for the DC fans and even less for the Tolkien fans. There is no reason at all that the two genres had to cross streams. Middle-earth is probably the densest, most detailed fictional universe ever created, so there's plenty of material to draw from. But they went the route of putting no effort at all into this story, just like everything else in the Super Friends canon. As a fan of Tolkien, I'm massively disappointed, although I can't say his creations haven't suffered worse.
Gandalf, it's really you! Oh, it's been so long!
And now I'm off to see if the Dark Knight can cleanse this taste out of my mouth. See you next time on Saturday Morning Glory.
I'm bringing sexy back. Yeah. The mother boys don't know how to act. Yeah. I'm thinking special, what's behind your back?